I can tell you this without shame. I was poor at times, but I was never poor in love. My children didn't know how difficult things were. I didn't want them to carry that burden. When I didn't have something, I found a way to make sure they still felt loved. The days I was ashamed of were some of the best days of my life. There is something I want to talk about today that I have carried with me for many, many years. I'm taking myself back to the time in my life when I was embarrassed. I felt different. I felt like I was the bad sheep of the family. And the reason I felt that way was because I was the only sister, the only daughter, the only mother in my family who had 2 children with 2 different fathers. Back then, that weighed heavily on me. I didn't feel like I fit the picture of my family, the picture that my family expected from me. And even though I was dealing with my own struggles, I didn't talk about them. I smiled, I went outside, and I put on a broad smile. People saw me smile, but they didn't see the struggle behind it. There were days when things were so difficult that I would search through my pocketbook, check my pockets, look in drawers, anywhere I might have a few coins. I remember finding a few quarters and thinking, maybe I can get something to eat. Sometimes I could go to the dollar store and pick up a few things. That was reality. And today, I can tell you this without shame. I was poor at times, but I was never poor in love. My children didn't know how difficult things were. I didn't want them to carry that burden. When I didn't have something, I found a way to make sure they still felt loved. I gave them what I could. I protected them from the things that were happening to me, the things that were happening in my life. They saw their mother smiling. They saw their mother providing. They saw their mother loving them. But they didn't see me searching through my pockets for coins. And now, these years, later years, my children may be watching this video and hearing this story for the first time. My children, I want you to know something. The struggle was real. There were times when your mother didn't know where the next few dollars were coming from, but you never knew because I didn't want you to know. I wanted you to have a childhood filled with love, not worry. And looking back now, something surprises me. Those days that I was so ashamed, those days when I felt I was the bad sheep, those days when I counted quarters, those were some of the best days of my life. Not because they were easy. They weren't. They were some of the hardest days. But those days built something inside of me. They gave me strength. They gave me resilience. They taught me how to survive without complaining. They taught me that I could go through difficult circumstances and still get up in the next morning and move. And today, when I look back at my children, I am so proud. I'm proud of the people they have become. I'm proud that I was able to raise them with love, even when I didn't have everything I wanted to give them. And I'm proud of myself too, because sometimes we spend so much of our lives looking at the things we think we did wrong. We look at our mistakes. We look at the things that make us different. We look at the things that embarrassed us. But sometimes those very things are what makes us strong. Today, I don't have to search through my pocketbook for a few quarters to buy food. I don't have to search my pockets. I don't have to look through drawers hoping to find a little change. That chapter of my life is over. And when I look back at that woman who was struggling, I don't see failure. I see a woman who was doing the best she could. I see a mother who loved her children. I see a woman who kept going. And most importantly, I see a woman who survived. So, if you are watching me today and you're going through a difficult period in your life, please don't be ashamed of where you are. Your circumstances today do not define who you will be or who you will become tomorrow. There may come a day when you look back and realize that the reason you thought was breaking you was actually building you. I was embarrassed by my past. Today I am proud of it because my past made me who I am. And at 73 years old, I can sit here and say, I am proud of where I came from. I am proud of the mother I became. I am proud of my children. And I am proud of the woman I am today. This is Conversation with Petra. And today, I just want to tell you the truth about a part of my life that my children may never have known. Sometimes the strongest people you meet are smiling because they have learned how to survive the things they don't talk about. And that was me.